Great. So, welcome everyone to How to Boost Your Energy Naturally and Stay Motivated All Year. I'm excited to do this talk with you, especially as we're in February and this winter feels endless here in Ithaca. This is something that I find that this topic I'm talking about with clients regularly. So, that we're here to talk about it all together. Um, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sophie Alexander. I'm the owner and lead practitioner at the Nutritional Wellness Center. And I came to this work and doing this work very much for personal reasons, my own struggles with my own health. I didn't really recognize how much I was struggling until I was in my early 20s. But I did grow up like dealing with digestive issues and allergies and a lot of blood sugar issues. Um, but it wasn't really until I got Lyme disease in my early 20s that I started to explore alternative options and really engaged and excited about helping people with their own health as I found answers for myself. Um, and the work of nutrition response testing, which I do at the Nutritional Wellness Center, was key for helping me get to the underlying causes of why my body struggling so much with Lyme. And so I really love talking about these types of topics because they are the foundational things that I use in practice and that I use with myself and have been key of particularly helping me get to the bottom of digestive issues and blood sugar issues and keeping my immune system doing really well. All right. So, an estimated 8.3 million American adults suffer from severe fatigue. And so, if you're on this call tonight, you might be one of them, right? Or you might know someone else who's struggling and you're wanting to learn information and how to help. And so, you're in the right place because we find in our practice that there are so many reasons people are struggling with fatigue and they're struggling with their motivation. And we come from the perspective that anything can cause anything. So, what we really need to figure out is what is causing it for you. And so while I'm going to be talking about a lot of broad concepts tonight and things that, everybody can apply, I want you to really keep thinking about that piece. What is it? What is the specific piece that's for you that's causing that fatigue? But first, let's understand what fatigue is. Fatigue is a weariness from exertion. Think of it as just a wear and tear, a weakening or a breakdown of material, particularly something that's subject to stress, especially repeated stress. And you'll hear the words stress a lot in this talk. It's something that I just see so much. And it's a word that I use not only in all the typical ways that we talk about stress, like events being stressful or a job being stressful, but I also think of things like environmental toxins as being stressful on the body, right? So we're going to be a lot of different ways that our bodies are dealing with stressors and need help. Um, so, what are some symptoms of dealing with stress and being fatigued? If you're tired for no reason, if you struggle to get up in the morning, even if you've gone to bed at a reasonable hour, even if you felt like you've slept well, if you feel run down or overwhelmed, if you find that you can't bounce back from a stressful event, or you can't bounce back from getting sick, or you're getting sick often, right? These are all communications from your body that you're dealing with um, some fatigue and stress response. If you're craving salty or sweet snacks, or if you have a kind of a reverse in your energy where you only feel best later in the evening. These are all clues, and these are all particularly clues about your adrenal glands. So you're going to hear me talk quite a bit about adrenal glands and about mitochondria. And so I wanted to also just explain a little bit about those to you because that's so much of what we find causes fatigue. And it's going to be some of these reasons that I get into with causes of fatigue backed by research. So just in case you don't know, your adrenal glands are two little glands. They sit on top of your kidneys and they make your stress hormones. Um, And they, yeah, predominantly, especially earlier in life, they are responsible for making all of your stress hormones. Um, but they play such a role in hormone balance in the body. So later in life, they make more of your sex hormones. They play a pivotal role in helping balance blood sugar and balance blood pressure. So they're a really important gland. And then the mitochondria are what you might have heard them nicknamed the powerhouses of our cells, right? So they're in every cell of the body and they are what generates cellular energy, so also known as ATP. And we find in our work that how the adrenals are doing, how the mitochondria are doing, are intimately linked to how your body's producing energy. So let's talk about some causes of fatigue. So, blood sugar imbalance is a huge one. It's often where we start as a nutrition practice of helping people to feel better is how are they handling their blood sugar? High sugar and refined carb intake leads to energy crashes. And studies have shown people with fluctuating blood sugar levels report 2 times higher fatigue than those whose glucose is stable. Nutrient deficiencies can be a huge component with low energy, low motivation. We see low iron, low B12, magnesium, and vitamin D as key nutrient deficiencies that we have to address. A study showed that 30% of women with chronic fatigue had iron and ferritin, which is your iron stores, levels below the optimal range. Chronic stress and cortisol dysregulation is an important one too. So cortisol is one of those stress hormones that your adrenals make, and it's one that it gets made for prolonged stress exposure, right? So your adrenaline is like a fast, at acute stress exposure. Cortisol happens for longer term stress as well. High cortisol can lead to adrenal burnout, the adrenals really being overtaxed or fatigued, and this can disrupt sleep. It can disrupt your energy. There was a study where the individuals with high stress levels, and a lot of that is like perceived stress. The body is um, feeling like you are in a stressful state all the time versus just uh, an acute response, and then you go back into a low stress state. They show that individuals with high stress are 3.5 times more likely to report daily fatigue. So poor sleep quality is a big one. And this and I have many adults that I work with who just don't get enough sleep, but also the quality of your sleep can be poor even if you're getting enough hours, right? You can get poor REM and not get enough deep sleep, not then get enough restorative sleep. We see that tying a lot to nutrient deficiencies, um, also tying into hormone balance, and certain things like especially like exposure to blue light, exposure to screens, phones can really disrupt the quality of sleep. So, as another study showed, 50% of those sleeping 7+ hours still feel fatigued due to disrupted sleep cycles. Toxic overload, environmental and dietary toxins is something that we work a lot on in our practice. We see that pesticides, heavy metals, mold exposure, and processed foods really drain cellular energy, drain how the mitochondria are creating energy, or prevent the mitochondria from creating proper cellular energy, and interfere with how the body is repairing and regulating the function of glands, such as the adrenal gland, and particularly the liver, which plays such a role in balancing hormones and working together with the adrenals to keep the body in balance. So, a study showed that people with high tox burden report 40% more fatigue than those with a lower exposure. And these can be um, exposures through food, through the air, through water. We see a lot of environmental exposures being significant issues for our clients. So, how your gut is doing, how your microbiome is doing, significantly impacts mitochondria function. and impacts the health of your immune system as well, right? Poor gut health can cause systemic inflammation, and this can also lead to energy depletion. 70% of our immune cells are in our gut, and the imbalances of this trigger fatigue via inflammation at a very cellular metabolic level. So, some other factors that we find really impact energy production, if the electrolyte balance is off in the body, if the thyroid is dysfunctioning, right? Whether that's hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's, if there are hidden food sensitivities that people aren't addressing. We're not talking about food allergies here, but sensitivities, not breaking the food down properly, leading to inflammation, particularly gluten and dairy. Dehydration plays a huge role in poor energy production. Electromagnetic field or EMF exposure. These are frequencies that are higher electromagnetic fields than, say, the electromagnetic fields given off by the Earth. We're talking about with this cell phone towers, computers. Um, these all give off a certain electromagnetic frequency that can really create cellular disruption and impact energy production. Sedentary lifestyle, poor posture associated with that, with being slumped at a desk for long periods of time. The emotional and mental burnout. I feel like that's particularly high right now. I just have so many clients communicating to me how emotionally overwhelmed and burnt out that they feel with just everything going on in the world. Overuse of stimulants, caffeine, different energy drinks. They just produce energy in the moment. They artificially stimulate it, and then the crash on the other side is hard. And then poor air quality, that's just such a source of toxicity exposure, but also it just means people are not getting enough oxygen. Not enough oxygen is not circulating around in our bodies. Our cells need so much need our oxygen to be able to create energy. So I want to go more into detail about how fatigue impacts the adrenals because it is something that we see so much in our practice when we're doing the muscle testing, when we're assessing organ systems in the body. The adrenals show up regularly as a priority for clients because chronic fatigue places continuous strain on our adrenal glands, which are responsible for managing stress and maintaining our energy levels. So over time, this constant stimulation from physical, emotional, and all these environmental stressors that I just spoke about can lead to adrenal exhaustion. Because need to think of your adrenals like a muscle that they contract in response to stress and should relax when the stress subsides. But for so many of us, the stress is persistent, right? So the adrenals remain overworked and is like holding a weight for too long. Eventually, the muscle weakens and doesn't function properly. So, without adequate recovery, overuse leads to adrenal fatigue, which can be categorized by persistent low energy, just feeling like you have to rely on caffeine or stimulants to get through your day, don't sleep well, your blood sugar is imbalanced, you have a lot of cravings, especially salt or sugar, and you just don't handle stress well. Um, and another layer to this is we find that if then the mitochondria in the adrenal glands are not producing energy well, then that's another way that we can focus on and support this because to restore adrenal health, it's crucial to restore the stressors, nourish the body with proper nutrients, and just incorporate restorative practices that allow the adrenals to regain balance and optimal function. And don't worry, I will start talking about some of those more positive things that you can do versus all the negative. And hair, yes, that's the next step. So we want to build a solid foundation to help your body's natural ability to make energy. And so let's talk about some holistic discoveries for sustainable energy. So, first one of my favorites, eating breakfast and eating breakfast with protein. So eating a meal within an hour after waking. And this might, come as a shock to you because there's so much talk being done about intermittent fasting. And I am not against intermittent fasting. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. But when you're struggling with fatigue, when the adrenals are struggling, we really want to have your first meal within an hour of waking up. It can help stabilize your blood sugar levels, prevent energy crashes later in the day. This is especially for people prone to hypoglycemia. But if you're dealing with adrenal fatigue, like I've been describing, or insulin resistance, we want to do this. It's so important. And you want to do it with protein, 30 to 40 grams of protein this first meal because it prevents cortisol spikes. Um, because, yeah, fasting in the morning can increase stress hormones and can lead to blood sugar fluctuations. It supports your metabolism to eat first thing. It kickstarts your digestion, gives you steady fuel for the day, and it reduces energy crashes. As I said earlier, protein, fiber-rich breakfast can prevent mid-morning fatigue and can prevent that 3 p.m. slump. So I have found that if folks really want to get some of the benefits from fasting as well, they need to do more what is known as circadian rhythm fasting, meaning get up, eat, follow the circadian rhythm of your body of how it needs support to create energy. And then if you're going to miss a meal, have it actually be your dinner that you miss, not your breakfast. Um, because that's when your body's winding down for the day and you don't need that same kind of blood sugar and energy support. We do have many clients who practice intermittent fasting and feel fine delaying their first meal, right? It really depends on metabolic flexibility and your own personal health goals. But me personally, I don't feel good fasting. I feel more stressed. I feel more shaky. But I feel really good if I have a light or early dinner or I miss dinner and then I have a longer eating break till the next morning. All right, let's talk about electrolytes and how electrolytes and salt are so important for energy function. So, electrolytes are your sodium, your potassium, your magnesium, and calcium. They are critical in energy production, really play an important role for cellular function. And they matter because they support your energy production. The sodium, particularly, helps transport nutrients into your cells, into your mitochondria, fueling that cellular energy. They help regulate your hydration. Sodium, particularly balanced, it prevents dehydration and energy dips, and it prevents fatigue, right? If you're low sodium, it can lead to brain fog, dizziness, and sluggishness. So, a message that I find myself sharing again and again is please don't be afraid of salt, particularly if you're struggling with low energy. Um, but we want your salt to be a salt full of trace minerals, right? We do not want you to be consuming a refined salt that's been bleached. It's only sodium. So we personally at the office use Redmond real salt, which it comes from an ancient salt bed in Utah. Um, so there's less microplastics in it because it doesn't come from the ocean and it doesn't come from all the way over in the Himalayas where the pink salt comes, the Himalayan pink salt. But it has over 80 trace minerals in it, and um, it has that key sodium that is needed for your cells to communicate and for your cells to clean out and to regulate your energy. B vitamins are essential for energy and adrenal health. They play a vital role in converting food into energy, and they support the adrenal glands. If your levels are low, your body can struggle to maintain steady energy levels. So that can contribute to your fatigue, your brain fog, your stress intolerance. B vitamins are essential for breaking down carbohydrates, fats, and proteins into usable energy. Um, B5 and B6 are especially crucial for cortisol regulation and your stress adaptability. Um, and we find that if there's deficiencies with B vitamins, people have lower energy, they have lower mood. Um, yeah, poor focus. The B's are key. You get B's in your eggs, you get B's in your red meat. Those are your your highest sources come from. All right, magnesium, one of my favorite minerals, is essential for health and energy. It's a key mineral for energy production, and again, the adrenal function. Um, it supports energy production. Magnesium helps convert carbohydrates and fats into usable energy, preventing fatigue and sluggishness. It plays a crucial role in managing cortisol and stress response, preventing burnout and energy crashes, and it prevents fatigue and muscle weakness. I find that a lot of people know, oh, if I'm having muscle cramps, I should be having more magnesium. That can be. I mean, sometimes it's the other electrolytes that are needed as well. But a majority of people are magnesium deficient. There is just not as much magnesium in our foods as there used to be because there's not as much minerals in the soil just overall as there used to be. And due to higher stress levels and more sugar in our diet, our magnesium levels just get depleted that much faster than they used to. All right. Another key area I love to focus on when people are struggling with low energy and low motivation is adaptogenic herbs and medicinal mushrooms. So there's one called rhodiola, which increases your cellular energy production, helps reduce fatigue and enhance focus. In general, the word adaptogenic means that these herbs help the body adapt and cope with stress and support stamina. They typically are a category of herbs that you feel better the longer you take them, um, and they help support your overall resiliency. Ashwagandha is a favorite of mine because it lowers cortisol, improves sleep, helps prevent burnout. Cordyceps is a medicinal mushroom. It enhances your oxygen uptake. It boosts stamina and reduces muscle fatigue. Lion's mane is another medicinal mushroom, supports brain function and nerve growth. And then ginseng, there are a couple different types of ginseng. It's an adaptogenic herb that improves endurance, helps balance blood sugar, helps reduce exhaustion. So a little tip is you could do some rhodiola and cordyceps and ginseng in the morning because they're more stimulants, energy, endurance support. And then in the evening, you could take ashwagandha and lion's mane because that helps more with relaxation, recovery, clearance of cortisol, uh, and mental clarity. All right, let's get into some other holistic tips to help with your motivation. So I love to talk about how to boost energy naturally and use grounding, right? Which is using the energy and the connection with the earth provides a significant energy reset. Direct contact with the earth reduces inflammation, stress, and fatigue. If you remember me talking earlier about how all these electromagnetic fields do affect us, these are all higher frequencies, whereas the frequency the earth gives off is much, much lower. It's 8 hertz, and it's been shown to lower cortisol and support the mitochondria, helps balance your circadian rhythms and your sleep cycle, get better, deeper, more restorative sleep and better energy. And there are all sorts of grounding devices, grounding sheets and grounding mats. But you also can just get outside with your bare feet. But I know this time of year, you might not be doing that. Um, and then red light therapy is a wonderful tool for mitochondrial support. Um, it boosts your cellular energy production, your ATP production, and that directly increases your cellular energy, makes you less tired. Red light therapy is amazing for healing. It enhances blood circulation and oxygen delivery. It can improve endurance. Um, and definitely, there's so many studies about red light therapy. And with one of them that we used here, it said 42% increase in energy reported after 4 weeks of red light exposure. Red light boosts collagen production. So there are a lot of red light devices that people use on their skin, but we're just talking about 10 minutes of red light a day. In studies has really been shown to enhance mitochondrial function and improve energy. All right, and some other wonderful tips. You want to align your goals with purpose, right? Focus on why you want to achieve something, not just the outcome. It's been shown that purpose driven actions sustain long term motivation. Having an optimized morning routine, it's just not just lip speak. It really does set the tone of the day and align yourself with purpose and help with your big picture motivation. So starting with hydration, a little bit of movement, intention setting. For some people, that's journaling or it's a moment to pause and reflect. Um, Not necessarily this time of year in Ithaca, New York, but incorporating getting outside and getting a bit of morning light. Gosh, that would be another wonderful way to optimize your morning routine and reset your circadian rhythm. And minimizing digital overload, right? So reducing social media and screen time. Gosh, it prevents mental fatigue, gets you moving away from all the comparing and comparison traps that can happen. Um, and it helps you, yeah, your body not perceive this constant stress, constant attack. You want to surround yourself with energy givers, right? Engage with positive, growth minded people who inspire and support your journey. Um, and I'm a big fan. Here, I'm just trying to check the chat at the same time because I'm not so good at doing that. Oh, it's not working for me. Yeah, I love the comment. Yes, thank you, Fabiola. That a walk outside now would be good cold therapy. It's true. Yes, another way to boost your mitochondria. um, I'm a big fan of practicing gratitude, visualization. Daily gratitude rewires the brain for optimism, and visualization primes you just for having it, an eye visualizing what you want to be focused on, right? And taking strategic breaks and time to reflect, right? Because motivation, it is cyclical. I know the title of this talk was Have Motivation All Year Long, right? But it is important to rest, to pause, to have nature time, to have self check-ins, and have those cycles of restoration, which then help bring the energy back to the motivation. And it is key, and I don't just say this because this is what I do for work and how I take care of myself, but it is really key when you're working to understand your own energy struggles and your own motivation struggles to get to the root cause and understand what's going on for you, like what's creating blocks for you. And there's nothing else that gets to the root of it like nutrition response testing in my perspective, because it helps to uncover the exact imbalances in your body so you can restore your energy naturally, feel your best again, not have all the guesswork, and help your body to remove the barriers that are there that are interfering with why your adrenals are struggling or your other systems are struggling and your body's not creating energy properly. So if you'd like to learn more about that, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Start your journey today. Call us, email us. Be happy to see how we can help.